Well, it's mulberry season. These fruit are so awesome. They're like little juicy berries raining down from the heavens when you shake a tree. I'm going to cobble together the images and video that I have to try to give you kind of a casual overview of what I think is really important to know about this fruit, which is very misunderstood. Identification. First thing to know about the leaves are confusing. Young saplings, especially those in like full sun, they can have lobed leaves, like on the left, and they can also have ovate leaves, like on the right. So both of those are the same tree. Next, the really confusing and convoluted part here is so these are white mulberries, but these are the white albino version. And with the Asian mulberry, which is what I'm basically covering here exclusively, both the white and purple fruit are the same tree. Okay, the white fruit is an albino freak, and they're a little bit less common. Some genius named them white mulberry, even though the purple berries are even more common. The red mulberry that you see here is very rare in the Midwest. Sam Thayer is actually growing seedlings. Hopefully, you'll have some for sale in a few years. Harvesting. You can pick mulberries by hand for the highest quality fruit, or you can shake the trees. Here, my friend Peter, Eric, and I are laying out some tarps. You want to make sure your tarps are super clean. And first, we're going to go to the lower hanging branches, and we're using a rake or a stick just to get those easy to access fruit first before we climb the tree. And he is much more talented than me at climbing trees. Climbing trees is a skill. And when that fruit starts coming down, man, there is just nothing like it. It is so cool to see, 5, 10, 20 pounds of fruit fall out of a tree from shaking it. Here is my, basic attempt at climbing the tree. Make sure you wear tight shoes. My shoes were a little bit loose. I was wearing Chelsea boots, and you can see I do not get as high as my friend Peter, and I do not get as much fruit, and it's basically laughable. Look at how high he gets. Look at how much fruit comes down. We're also in a public area, and if you don't want people to ask you if you're homeless and you don't want stares, make sure to bring a friend because there's something with the social dynamic there. If there's one person, they're weird. If there's two people, people think, oh, obviously this is a legitimate operation now. Just something that I've noticed. Okay, the rope technique. If you don't want to climb the tree or if you're not good at it like me, what you can do is use a rope. Using the rope technique to get these lower hanging branches, just look at all these that are coming down. Things I learned the hard way. Wear tight-fitting shoes if you want to climb the tree. Bring a friend because this can be difficult to do alone. Use impeccably clean tarps. Chill the fruit down as soon as possible, especially if it's in a plastic container, and the flavor varies from tree to tree. There's some berries that I picked that molded within 24 hours of picking, partially because they were in a black plastic Cambro or polycarbonate, so just know that. Also, the fruit ripens unevenly, so go back to the tree repeatedly to get the most fruit. Inevitably, sometimes you might get dirty fruit. Don't pick dirty fruit off the ground that's not on the tarp and put it in with your harvest. When you're going to clean the fruit, what you want to do is I lay them out on a tray and I'm going to clean the fruit by hand. This takes time, but if you soak them in water, you are going to lose a ton of flavor. But if you find that your kids put a bunch of dirty, gritty mulberries in your batch, you may need to soak them, and then you can do things like making mulberry vinegar. And how you do that, this is a great thing to do if you have some dirty fruit or you taste some of the fruit and they're gritty. Mash the berries up, and then we're just going to add some sugar. You can just use water. I'm going to add a splash of red wine because deep, juicy, dark berries like red wine. Then we're going to take some living vinegar. This is from High Bush cranberries. You can see there's some little flubbery mother in there. I'll just put that in there too. Then we'll add our water and wine mixture. Put some cheesecloth over the top. And then we will just let that ferment. After about a month, we're going to strain that out. And you will have some excellent, basically, red wine vinegar substitute. Okay, are mulberries poisonous or hallucinogenic? So, possibly if you eat large amounts of unripe berries raw, most of the narcotic accounts refer to unripe, uncooked fruit. And there's such a long tradition of eating this fruit. I really think and agree with Sam Thayer that those, you know, precautions are a little bit overblown. I've never hallucinated from eating a pie. Next thing to know is that mulberry leaves are edible too, and you can cook them like a little vegetable. Kind of. Think less spinach and more parsley. You need to get the leaves when the young stems are tender. So these are the young stems that I'm picking in the very early summer here. After 4 to 5 minutes of simmering, they're going to be tender. And you can see I'll just tear one off like that. Boom. It's nice and tender, kind of like spinach crossed with parsley. Use it like an herb. This is in a soup with pioppino mushrooms and miso and tofu. It's excellent. Preserving the harvest, just like with basically every berry I know, one of the best things to do is take a sheet tray, a baking sheet, parchment, put the berries on there, freeze them, then put them in a bag. You can cook with them just like they were fresh. Mulberry Recipes. If you make only one recipe, you have to make my mulberry pie. This is just a classic mulberry pie. The reviews on my website speak for themselves. I'm telling you. Pekmez. This is so cool. There's some Turkish videos on YouTube. So the fruit can be harvested in huge quantities and it can be dirty. So they'll take like 50 pounds, cook it in a pot, all the juice comes out, and they reduce the juice down to a molasses that is shelf stable. So cool. Jam. Jam is great. You want to pulse it with a hand blender to make it spreadable. Also makes it so you don't have to add pectin. I have a video on that. Really, really good. Tea. You can make tea from the leaves. Some people take this for medicinal properties. I don't do that at all. I make it with fresh leaves or the dried leaves. The fresh leaves are a little bit stronger. And that's it. Just a basic, quick overview of what you can do with mulberries and a few things I thought would be helpful for you. All the recipes are on my website, along with a post with a lot more information that's linked at the top of the video description. Thanks for watching.